on the NewsChannel 5 network. This is OpenLine.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to OpenLine. Glad you're with us tonight. A very interesting show. We are happy to have with us Joe Woolley, who is the CEO of the Nashville LGBT Chamber. And we're going to learn, what does the LGBT Chamber do? What does it do when it comes to recruiting businesses in Nashville, up at the legislature? So very happy to have you with us. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks for having me.
For being here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Many people may not know that we have an LGBT Chamber of Commerce. So tell us give us the 101 on it, just basic information about what you all do.
We have an LGBT Chamber of Commerce. We're one of 51 other affiliates, we call them, because there's a national LGBT Chamber of Commerce, the national NGLCC, the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce, and they offer the certifying they're the certifying body, national certifying body for LGBT-owned businesses, because you can register as an LGBT-owned business, and they offer that certification. The affiliates have actually been around longer than the national one has. A few of us have. The national one was formed about 15 years ago. Nashville's been around for 21 years. We were formed.
So the Chamber's been here 21 years in Nashville.
Not under that name. When it was first formed, it was called NAPP, N-A-P-P, Nashville Association of Professional People. It was a professional gay networking group, but it was closeted in its name. It was not out. It was a different time. And it became the Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce in 2008, and then switched its name to the LGBT Chamber in 2011, when Lisa Howe was hired as our first CEO after she was let go from Belmont University when all of that happened.
Right, okay, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I got involved with it 7 years ago. I was president of the organization for several years and worked with Lisa extensively. And then I had left, stepped down, and new board leadership took over, and then Lisa moved to Dallas, and I thought, I loved the work that I was doing as president. Why don't I get paid for it? And I applied for the CEO job, and I've been there about a year and a half now. The Chamber has seen incredible growth from a closeted networking organization that developed into a true Chamber of Commerce and got members. Networking and professional development was really the key for a long time. And then as businesses grew and wanted an advocate, somebody to advocate for their business, the Chamber started to grow. The Chamber's growth really mirrors the growth of Nashville. Our huge membership increases match the business growth in Nashville over the last 8 years. Really. Mm-hmm. But just in the last 4 years, we've gone from 200 members, and we just, at the end of 2019, we've surpassed 500 members.
And what would you say your number one job is? You started out as kind of a networking organization. You're not that. Now
we're not that anymore.
What is it now? What is your number one job?
We say that we advocate, educate, and connect the community through business. The community being the LGBT ally community through business. And we do that by advocating at the state level, but we also advocate on local policies. We work very hard to have Nashville become the first city in the South to recognize LGBT certified businesses. We advocate at the state level to keep Nashville and Tennessee open and welcoming for everyone. Corporations now, that's a number one concern for them to attract and retain talent, is that Tennessee needs to be a place that people want to move to. It doesn't scare people off. We also need to retain the talent that we have. We see a loss of talent out of the state because young people don't want to live in a state that is seen as restrictive or unwelcoming. There's massive amounts of data that back that up. So we not only need to attract and retain new talent, we need to retain the talent that we have that's currently living here.
So part of your job is up at the legislature. You're
Absolutely.
Up there. Are you a lobbyist, or would you officially be registered as a lobbyist? Are you up there advocating on behalf of or against certain legislation?
Absolutely. Our members, we represent our members. We advocated much less at the state level because our members were less comfortable with it 7 years ago. Now they've gotten much more comfortable with it, but that was a big educational piece on our part, letting them know what we could do up there for them and having them actually speak out and move forward and push back on discriminatory legislation. We had members, corporate members, work behind the scenes for a long time on certain bills. Tennessee Thrives was started 4 years ago, which is a broad business coalition. We were a founding member of that, to work to not have happen what happened in North Carolina with the bathroom bill and the $3.7 billion loss in revenue that state felt from passing that bill. Tennessee Thrives was formed with the Convention and Visitors Corp, the mayor's office, the area chamber, the LGBT chamber, and then some very big prominent corporations to keep Tennessee open and welcoming to do business in.
So that's part of what you do.
That's what we do.
You're up there, and there have been some bills passed recently that would probably raise concern, and we'll talk about that in a moment. And then what about when Nashville is out there trying to recruit a new company? So a new company is coming, it could be Amazon or some company that Nashville is trying to get here. Do you play a role in when Nashville is out recruiting a big company like that?
We do, and that changed really with AllianceBernstein when they came to town. They asked the mayor's office at the time, we have concerns bringing employees from New York City, a progressive place where you can raise your family, and LGBT people aren't persecuted. Yes, we have concerns about those employees have concerns about coming here. We need help alleviating those concerns. The mayor's office connected us to AllianceBernstein. We talked to them extensively. I think we had a part to play in them choosing Nashville over the other cities they were looking at. I told the story recently that one of their concerns is that Tennessee not have a bathroom bill and stays opening and welcoming. And we pushed them on and said, we'd love for you to be a part of that to help us do that. And they were the first corporation that publicly spoke out, member of ours, that publicly spoke out against discriminatory legislation. And that opened the floodgates. That once that door was cracked open by them, we had 32 corporations speak out last year directly against the quote-unquote slate of hate that was being proposed. It's a different day up there now, and the number one thing is that we don't want to become the next North Carolina. Tennessee has everything going for it in business, but this could really mess everything up, and it's a self-inflicted wound.
When you talk to somebody from New York and say, it's okay to come down here, how much do you believe that? I mean, because the legislature, there's some tough things that are going on up there. Is it? I mean, can you in good conscience say to somebody in New York who has those concerns that, yeah, come down here, everything's fine?
I absolutely can, because I live here. I know what this state is all about. I see the people. I work with the people that live here. Nashville and Tennessee in general is a welcoming, great place to live and raise your family. We're #1 in business attraction. Businesses are flocking here. People have a hesitation due to the adoption bill passing. Last week was a tough day. It was last Tuesday was a very tough day because we'd worked hard on that not happening, and that bill was just discriminatory. It was a bill that was not needed. It was discriminatory in nature, and it hurts. But I still go out and talk about the culture here and how great the city is and welcoming to all walks of life. Doesn't matter who you love, what your race, what your religion is. We're a welcoming place. Nashville is the place to be for a reason.
So when that passes a week ago, does that damage the ability of Nashville or Tennessee to recruit businesses in the future? And what about a business like AllianceBernstein that you said it's okay down here? What was the reaction, do you think, on their part?
It makes it harder to sell Tennessee in general. I wrote 3 letters last year specifically pushing the conventions. There were groups bringing conventions here, telling them what a great place it is, how welcoming we are, how many businesses we have, how many LGBT-owned businesses we have. And they were very concerned about all the bills, but specifically about adoption. It's yet to be seen, but I think we've lost 2 of them just from the adoption bill passing. So that's where you really get this impact. I think we're going to feel an impact from the adoption bill passing. We're going to feel a much greater impact if more of these bills pass later on this legislative session, like they're looking like they might have a chance to do. Businesses are speaking out last year. They're continuing to do it because Tennessee really could become the next North Carolina. We have the most to lose out of any other state playing around with passing discriminatory legislation. And I just don't want that to be us. So we work very hard on behalf of our members to stop that from happening. We only take on advocacy issues surrounding business, and LGBT equality is central to that, but it's not the core mission of the chamber.
Were you surprised that was the first thing to pass? I mean, that's the first thing that passed right out of the gate. So this legislative session starts, that's the first thing that passes. You say you're concerned about other stuff. That seems like a warranted concern on your part. It's the first thing that passed. How concerned are you that other stuff will go through this year?
I'm really worried now. I mean, they came out, as you said, very first. We thought we had more time to work at defeating this bill. We knew it was up. Like, it was on the floor the last day of the last session, and we were really pushing last year hard. We thought it being delayed until this year, we would have had some more time. We worked hard throughout the year, from the last session to this one, having conversations. We thought we had some more time to have more and hopefully get this bill that was not needed to not be put forth and voted on. That didn't happen. I look at it, though, as maybe this is the bill that is the wake-up call to get business to engage even more, to wake up LGBT citizens and our allies that this is happening, and for them to speak out even more than they have been. The wake-up call that I think we're going to hear with the economic impact that's going to come from this bill, that we will feel tenfold if other things pass. This bill in the end did nothing to harm LGBT same-sex parents' life than it did the day before. Faith-based adoption agencies could already discriminate against same-sex parents. This just codified it, put it another layer on it, and gave taxpayer funds to do it. And it was just around discrimination. It was not needed. So we have also, though, made sure that people know that same-sex couples can adopt. There are still businesses out there, 6 of them are members of ours, that are more than happy to work with same-sex parents to find a loving home for a child. And
the argument was that it would impact Tennessee's economy. You know, pass this bill and there'll be a detrimental impact. What, I guess a week and a half, whatever it is, 2 weeks since it's passed, what direct impact? You indicated there might be 2 businesses. What is the direct impact just in that
2
week?
2 conventions that I believe are going to cancel contracts, not come to Nashville to have their conference. That will have a ripple effect through the Nashville economy, through the state economy as they pull out. Hotel rooms, the food contracts they've done. The convention and visitors industry feels it first. That's why they are more concerned as anybody. They're very concerned that these bills pass because they're going to feel the economic hit first. They could feel it as soon as later this year or early next year, depending on when these conventions were scheduled. They're going to feel it. But you go back to that conversation we started around economic community development. When businesses come in and they look at that, I know of, because since we were brought in early with Alliance Bernstein, we've been involved with every other major corporate relocation to the city, and some outside the city, actually. We've spoken to companies that have chosen to come here outside the city. They talk to us about the LGBT climate in Tennessee. I know of 3 economic relocation deals that I think are in jeopardy right now because of what happened last week with the adoption bill.
Really?
And the governor is driving those. The governor knows of these. The governor's involved in these. And he either signed the bill this afternoon or he's going to do it tomorrow. So he knows what companies are saying around this issue. When he went out to Silicon Valley to talk with corporate members, 4 of them of ours, our members, are out there and brought this issue up. discriminatory legislation stops us from doing business in Tennessee. It hurts our ability to attract and retain talent. We hope that you're paying attention to this. Here's what we believe around the business angle of this. And they've had those conversations with him.
With him meaning the governor?
Yes,
okay.
The governor. But we've also had that with Senate leadership. We've had that with House members. We've taken CEOs of companies up there to make that argument. These aren't idle threats. These are coming from the business's mouth, saying this hurts our ability to attract and retain talent in this state.
And how is that met? How is that argument received? Because Chris Sanders was on again last week. He said there were some, I guess, bright spots in the vote as far as he was concerned, because there were some Republicans who traditionally might support something like this who didn't want to vote on the bill. So I think the reason that the thing that resonated with him was the concern about business. But obviously there were enough that didn't resonate. So when that is presented to a lawmaker, what is the reaction? That meaning businesses are going to leave here, or a CEO saying this kills my potential move here. What is the reaction?
It depends. Some say, I hear you, I get it. Senator Dickerson made some great points arguing that on the floor last week around adoption. Lieutenant Governor McNally left the dais and spoke from the well against this bill and warned of these hits the state could take around business. You saw some other no votes from Republican senators that see it as a business issue. We need to keep working on more, but House members as well. We need to keep having conversations with House members and House leadership as well about the business impact of discriminatory legislation. Some hear it and say, those businesses aren't in my state or in my district. I don't care. I don't care if Nashville suffers. I don't understand the comments like that. We're all Tennesseans. We all want Tennessee to continue to grow and thrive in this incredible economy that we have with this incredible unemployment rate. Nashville is the engine of that growth and is huge. The funds that Nashville generates for the state, I don't understand the disconnect of, well, Nashville can just suffer. I don't care if Nashville hurts. It has a trickle-down effect.
There is this tension up there on lots of levels between the more rural and some of the cities, and particularly Nashville. We've seen that. All right, I have to take a break. I want to ask when we come back, there's obviously an LGBT chamber here in Nashville. What about in Tennessee? Is there one across the state? So we'll talk about that. Take a break. If you want to call in, Reverend Fuzz is on the line. Hold on, Reverend Fuzz. Others, if you want to call in, there's the number, 615-737-PLUS, 615-737-7587. Take a break. Be back right after this.